OFAC General License 46A substitutes recently awarded License 46, whose texts are identical except for a provision of authorization of payments for local taxes, permits, or fees within Venezuela without sending such payments to the foreign government deposit funds as specified on Executive Order 14,373. This is a major improvement from License 46, which is now becoming License 46A, as this is the first explicit admission of the United States that payment must be received in Venezuela for local taxes, permits, and fees. We may remember that Marco Rubio used to say that the government of Venezuela was not supposed to receive any compensation for oil exploration, production, and distribution activities. License 47 concerning imports of diluents is maintained, and license is awarded authorizing the use of ports and airports in Venezuela, including facilities operated by INEA, Instituto Nacional de Espacios Acuáticos. Such ports located on Venezuelan shores will be important to export production that from now on is allowed by General OFAC License OFAC 48. Goods, technology, software services, exploration, development, and production of oil and gas in Venezuela are permitted. Similarly as in General OFAC License 46A, payment of local taxes is allowed, with no need to incur into foreign government deposit funds as specified on Executive Order 14,373. License 48 permits processing payments, arranging ships and logistics. It includes chartering vessels. General License OFAC 48 includes marine insurance, protection, and indemnity, and authorizes port and terminal services within Venezuela. Maintenance of oil and gas fields is also permitted under General License 48. This includes refurbishment or repair of items used for exploration and development of oil and gas fields. Venezuela's petroleum industry is now officially back. Necessary permits have been awarded so that domestically PDVSA, national investors and international investors may allocate specific fields, operate them, export proceeds, pay fees, local taxes and permits to the Venezuelan authorities, while exports continue operated by United States foreign government deposit funds, as specified in Executive Order 14,373, dated on January 9th, 2026. Russia-Iran Korea, Cuba, and China are excluded from General License 46A. Russia, Iran, Korea, Cuba, and China are excluded from License 48. While China seems relegated to only purchase oil from Venezuela on United States terms and prices, such as the recent Venezuelan export of oil that arrived into Israel. Venezuela's attitude toward Israel remains problematic. Former deposed President Nicolás Maduro claimed that Israel was evil and genocide, while his son Nicolásito Maduro Guerra actually proposes reassuming diplomatic relations with Israel. We have two members of the Maduro family who have different opinions on Israel. Venezuelan oil exports are traded temporarily by Vitol and another major trading company. And such trading companies may sell that oil to Israel, United States refiners, China, or any other countries except North Korea, Iran, and Cuba. Additional OFAC licenses will be needed for joint operations between neighboring countries, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Colombia, as Venezuela's border with all these three countries is set to become a major international oil and gas trade route, while some petroleum fields are adjacent between Venezuela and Trinidad, such as Dragon Gas, or between Venezuela and Colombia, such as Caño Limón and Guafita. Ecopetrol, Shell, and British Petroleum are certainly in a rush for obtaining OFAC specific licenses for the binational nature of operation between contiguous countries. Sanctions relief has been extremely significant, suggesting that domicile prison of Juan Pablo Guanipa is acceptable and encouraged by United States, which prefers to flow oil and gas rather than a fight for democracy that is prohibited by the National Security November 2025 report. Juan Pablo Guanipa's home arrest, as he violated terms and conditions of his previous release, is a hotly debated topic which does not provide an agreement between lawyers. Gloria Piño of the opposition party Conde del Guácharo is strongly in favor of domicile arrest of Juan Pablo Guanipa because of reincidence in behavior for which he was originally charged, while most extremist lawyers claim otherwise. President Delcy Rodriguez has been visiting businesses and communities in Prados del Este and Mecedores in Caracas. Her schedule of activities seems to be a mixture between international investors and domestic production communities. Venezuela's economy, understandably, should not rely entirely on petroleum, as wild swings in petroleum price have traditionally provided mismanagement and instability to Venezuelan macroeconomics. Main concern is that domestic production, just as oil and gas production, needs reinvestment, maintenance, repair, refurbishment of very old equipment. And most Venezuelans do not have any capital to engage in such repair. Many of the communities visited by President Delcy Rodriguez have some connection with her Socialist Party, and many may have received funding directly from the government. However, as Jorge Rodriguez, her brother, has welcomed free market economy back into Venezuela, we should expect free flow of foreign and domestic currency through the private banking system so that ordinary citizens may be well served in their financial needs. Attention is increasingly shifting into Cuba. Air Canada, other Canadian airlines have suspended their air service into Canada, and Canadian tourists are stranded in Cuban hotels which are closing. Tourists are being removed from hotels and deposited into other hotels, and tourism industry is in an utter nightmare. There is no electrical energy even in hotels. Domestic Cuban population must endure 14 to 20 hours of darkness and only 4 hours of light. Refrigerators no longer serve their function. All food is rotten. No new food is being produced. Mass starvation of the Cuban population is imminent. Cuban land system of ownership does not work. People are supposed to fish or raise cattle for the benefit of the state. This is hardcore state communism, which fortunately Venezuela never experienced such economic repression ever. Venezuela always maintained some window of private enterprise. Cuba must be liberated. Donald Trump must continue either exercising pressure or dialoguing with Diaz-Canel until he goes, or he might have to do an extraction. Russia, China, and Iran, as usual, will not be able to do anything about it. But Cuba must be free immediately. Venezuela needs to continue our strong relationship with Cuba. And now that Venezuela is a free market economy and Cuba has become a failed state, Venezuela and Cuba can no longer trade. Venezuela and Cuba can no longer have relations beyond diplomatic, irrelevant communiques signed by foreign ministers Bruno Rodriguez Parrilla and Ivan Gil. Venezuela and Cuba must regain trade, commerce, and Cuba should also be an attractive location for Venezuelan companies wishing to expand internationally, as United States and Venezuela alliance is perfectly suited to make Cuba recover. United States has the capital and Venezuela has the know-how of current Cuban society. An alliance between United States and Venezuela must transcend beyond petroleum and gas exploration, and both countries should jointly make Cuba great again. But either Diaz-Canel has to go or an interim president for Cuba must be found. Ideally, this petroleum and food blockade into Cuba should not last long, as there is a risk of mass starvation, which could easily be equated to an imminent future genocide of starving Cubans if a solution is not sought. However, we are perfectly knowledgeable that the Cuban regime is interested in staying in power forever.